Hi, and welcome to this brief introduction into mindfulness meditation. There's a lot being said about mindfulness these days, and this is an introduction to the meditations on this website, and to give people a fundamental understanding of my orientation toward mindfulness, its benefits, and how to practice, and those sorts of things. There's a lot of every teacher has their own basic orientation, and although we all go into the same place. The what I have on this website is really for introductory meditations, 3 minute and 5 minute, 10 minute meditation, and we the find that regularity is really more important than duration. So, particularly if somebody's beginning a practice, a 3 minute meditation twice a day is recommended. And that does a couple of important things. One is when we do it every day, twice a day, then we build up the rhythm of the meditation. And our body works off of rhythms, and gets to be our normal eating time. We begin to get hungry and think about food. And half an hour before we usually go to bed, we start getting tired. So when we do a meditation practice of any length, but do it at about the same time in our schedule each day, then we begin to alert ourselves and accommodate ourselves to the practice even before we start meditating. Second is when we start off with a 3 minute meditation, we familiarize ourselves with the fact that the 3 minute meditation is something that, if we need to, we can use throughout the day. If we need to, with mindfulness meditation, we get the connotation from a lot of the, I guess, literature, public literature on mindfulness, as it helps you relax and increases a sense of well-being, which is absolutely true. But it's important to realize that there's two aspects to this. One is using mindfulness in an immediate situation, like we're upset about something in particular, a meeting is called, or you got a distressing call from somebody or something like that. We can take this wherever we are. We take 3 minutes out and just sit for a few minutes and just soothe our nervous system and relax. And that's sort of the acute condition, so application. And the other is for our ongoing benefit, where we begin to lower our general threshold of stress. And that comes with repeated, regular meditation. So that the meditation itself, as you'll see, is very simple. We sit, and when a thought comes up, we recognize a thought has arisen, we acknowledge its presence, and we release it and come back to the present moment awareness. Now, it's important to understand that we can't prevent our minds from generating thoughts. Our brains are going to throw out thoughts no matter what we do. But we can change how we relate to the thoughts once they arise. Normally, if a negative thought comes up, we distract ourselves. Or if something comes up as somewhat of an obligation, we'll start thinking about the obligation and distract ourselves from the present moment and think about what we're going to do in the future or the next day or something. Or we'll find something really pleasant, we just sort of toddle off into a pleasant fantasy of some sort, a neutral thought scenario. But the mindfulness practice, is to maintain this present moment awareness. And that the present moment awareness is what occurs after we let the thoughts go. So when we let a thought go, what happens is that because we're not giving it any energy or any attention, it just wanders off and disappears. Now, it may come back 30 seconds later, but that's another thought. So then we'll let that one go too. And after a while, the brain will settle down. Now, partially that's because our brain is just chock full of stress and things we need to do and obligations or mistakes we've made or deadlines we got to meet. And so our mind has been trained to be full of all these thoughts all the time. Well, and that's not tenable. That's not a sustainable process. So that by meditating and by letting the thoughts go and being able to appreciate the space between thoughts, we begin to lower our stress level. And when we lower our stress level, it increases our capacity for enjoyment of life and gratitude and connection and all the really uh, enjoyable aspects of life. So when we're stressed, that aspect of enjoying life and connection goes down. They vary inversely. So mindfulness introduces us to a means to flourish, and and also to not take ourselves quite so seriously. Oftentimes, we're very attached to our thoughts. Like, for instance, if we have um, oh, a car that we liked very, very much, it's got some sentimental value to it or whatever, and then we find out it's somebody sideswiped it or it's totaled. Now we're really upset about that because we have a lot invested in it emotionally. And what this practice helps us do is to realize that a thought is just a thought and that we can choose how to react to it. It doesn't take away or eliminate our emotions like grief or joy or things like that, but it does help us to be able to experience them in a manner that it doesn't overthrow us. Viktor Frankl said that between stimulus and response, there's a space. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space, we have the power to choose how we respond. And in our response lies our happiness and our freedom. And he brought that into psychology around 1950. And it was really a quantum change in how we looked at psychoanalysis and psychology. So this space between stimulus and response, when something happens and we react, if we can pause, we have the potential for using our intuitive mind rather than our anxious mind. It's all jazzed up, worrying about this and worrying about that and trying to figure this out and what if this happens, that sort of thing. And when in the space, oftentimes we'll find a thought or a feeling or an idea will just float to the top. And we go, well, that's really interesting. Maybe I'll give so-and-so a call. And it turns out to be exactly the right thing to do. So this is what the mind training, the mindfulness meditation practice is really training us to do, is to find and utilize on a regular basis this pause between stimulus and response. How many times have we done or said something or fired off an email, and then 20 minutes later we go, I don't think I should have done that. And it causes problems because we weren't really thinking, we were just reacting. So the reacting, there's no space. We just react. And when we pause, then we have the space to be able to include a lot of other factors and we begin to act intuitively to life. So the other thing is the mindfulness meditation, 3-minute meditation twice a day, builds up the regularity. We include it in our daily regimen, like brushing our teeth, flossing our teeth, or whatever. And it becomes integrated into our life. And that's really helpful in the long run. And the other thing is, as I mentioned, in a 3-minute meditation, we get used to the fact that no matter what's going on, if we need to chill and rebalance our nervous system, we can do that anywhere. If we're at work, we can go and sit in the car for a few minutes, or close the door in our office or whatever it is, or just go somewhere and be quiet for a few minutes. So it can be very helpful in that way throughout the day and handling life stressors. So 3 minutes sometimes will seem like a long time and sometimes seem like 15 seconds. So time that has a different set of values in the meditation space. So I hope you enjoy it, and welcome to the world of mindfulness meditation, mind training. Thanks for listening.